Good morning, traders. Today is Monday, April 18th. My name is Charles, and this is the Pirate Traders live stream. My apologies for being a little late getting up and running this morning. Okay, so what are we expecting here in the market? Well, last week we had a balancing area. That is an area where the market just kind of bounces around in a particular range, trying to figure out whether it wants to go higher or lower. I would draw that balance area. I would draw that balance area kind of like that right there. So on Friday, what happened was we looked above that balance and then we failed to get continuation to the upside. And that caused what we call a look above and fail. So the market pushed above and then crashed back down to the opposite end of the market, of the balance. So that's not bearish by itself, right? It's just sort of neutral. It's the market balancing and trying to decide, does it want to go higher or lower? And it just kind of means it wasn't ready to go higher just yet on Thursday. So it's not necessarily bearish, but the spike down at the end of the day, that is the push that we got down at the very last hour of the day, that is bearish. And opening below that spike is bearish. All right, so the market is open. First order of business is the gap fill, that is getting to yesterday's low. So we're looking for the market to push up to 43.8550 and then look for resistance there. Okay, so the spike down is bearish. Opening below the spike is bearish. So the first order of business is, do we get a gap and go? So now that we've filled the gap, do we get resistance here for continuation lower? If we do, that would be bearish, okay? If not, if we're able to push our way back up into yesterday's range, getting back inside that balance area, that increases the odds that we're going to head back up to Thursday's high, right? Head back up to the opposite end of balance once again. And I would say this level right here, 4401, you could pretty much just call it 4400. That will be a very, very important level to test that out. So when we push back in, we expect resistance at the base of a spike, right? We also have a weak reference at that exact same level that needs repair. So once the market gets up there and does that, does it get resistance there? If so, it might look into balance and fail, which would be bearish, right? But if it's able to get above that 4401 level, that would be very bullish to me for continuation to the opposite end of balance. All right, so far we got the gap fill and we're getting no resistance. So that is a little bit bullish. So the next target to the upside is 4401. And once they repair that, does the resistance step in there? It is worth noting it is a little bit suspect that we opened and immediately went higher. So it's not anything to obsess about right now. We're back in balance, so let's stay focused on that. But if we do start to pull back down, that will be something of interest as a target to the downside. Overnight inventory was net short, but not too bad, and we have already absorbed that overnight activity. So now it's a question of, do new buyers or new sellers step in? In the same way, Thursday, that pushing above the balance area high and failing to get continuation caused us to go to the opposite end. If we push inside the balance area today and fail to get continuation, it is likely to cause excess to the downside as a breakout of balance. Diego, good morning to you. Scooball, hello. David Glass in the house. Philip, good morning to you. Cyrus is here. MW, good to see you. Oh, is there a typo on my thing? Oh, boy. Thank you, Cyrus. Have to fix that. Caffeine, good morning to you. Jocklo, good morning. Laser Eye, good to see you. Amir, good morning. Hustler Forever in the house. Trading Donkey, tried to start my morning with an edge, but ended up busting right through. That one took me a second. Edging, okay. It's too early. Chef, good morning to you. I'm Chief, good morning to you. Dean, good to see you. Jack, welcome. J Trader in the house. Scooball, is the A low weak because it was the opening? Yeah, not technically, but it is a bit suspect to me that we didn't even test one tick lower. So this spike, this base of the spike, 4401, will be a very key level. If we don't get resistance here, I will immediately get bullish. Jose, good morning to you. John Lash, welcome. Good to have you. Chief, what is the top and the bottom of the balance area? Well, just for the record, that's a very it's in the eye of the beholder. You know what I mean? It's arbitrary. It's hard to know exactly. I've got the balance area high. It's mislabeled there as balance area low, but I've got it as 44.50 and the low as 43.89. JT, good morning to you. John Juan Jan, good morning. TV in the house. Boss Man, good to see you. Ronald, good morning. Har. Alex, good morning. Is the platform Sierra charts? I think they do have market profile on Sierra, but this is Window Trader. Elite T, good morning to you. Welcome. Nilesh, good morning from Mumbai. All right, moment of truth here. The weak reference is repaired. Do we get resistance? Do the sellers start to push the ticks back down below the zero line? Okay, so far we are getting resistance there. Okay, we are getting resistance at the base of the spike down. That's a little bit bearish to see. If we pass back through 43.89, that will be very bearish as a potential breakout of balance, which would potentially lead to excess to the downside, right? You generally get about the same amount of excess as the size of the balance, so you'd be looking at a pretty big move if we pass back through 43.89. Or if you wanted to be extra safe, you could say yesterday's low. Scubal NQ is weak. Okay, same exact thing for the NQ here. You had a balance area last week. We just tried to barely look into that balance and failed. So that is bearish to see. And you might look for continuation to the downside, equal to the size of the balance area. Pretty soon now. I would say if you break 13,880, things get pretty bearish. Bossman, one and done. NQ 25 points. Another green day. Well, enjoy the rest of your day. That's pretty sweet. All right, well, we got the ticks back above the zero line. That's a sign of new buyers stepping in here. So if we break back through the base of this spike now, I will be bullish. That was interesting. There it is. All right, folks. I got to call him like I see him. Getting back through the base of the spike down is a little bit bullish to see. So, of course, we're looking for resistance just above. Everywhere we have the downside to a balance area, just like on Friday, right? Expand out that profile. So just like on Friday, we didn't do a straight line from the look above and fail to the opposite end. Right? There was a lot of hard grinding that we had to do to work our way down there. A lot of debate, boom, debate, boom. So we would expect the same thing to the upside here. as we work our way back up. There's a lot of resistance, but as long as we stay inside that balance area, the highest probability is the opposite end to the upside. Not what I was expecting. John says, I remember when I used to trade the first 15 minutes of the day and then I blew up a couple of accounts. Well, it depends. A day like today, you can take trades right away, right? The gap gives you a trade. Whenever you see that the market is going to open above or below the previous day's high or low, there is a trade right away to try to fill that gap. So I do trade in the first 15 minutes on a day where there's a gap, but any other day, I'm generally waiting to see. Rocket says, I've made a great living on gaps only. There you go. T-Bait, don't trust the NQ up move until NQ ticks go green. That is totally fair. The NQ is definitely more bearish than the ES. Amir, BTC below 40K. I know. I was looking at the daily this morning. It's a bit disappointing. Methinks it looks like we need a pullback. Yeah, I mean, that's this pattern here, making the higher lows, that had some potential. But now that we've broken that, probably we're going lower. I wouldn't get too bearish unless we broke 37,580. But that is pretty nasty to see. Design up. Don't get too cozy with the bull. Pappy has his sauce simmering. Well, as we all know, if we break back below the balance area, then we can worry about Pappy. But for the moment, once you re-enter that balance area, the highest probability is the opposite end. And it's always going to make it hard on you. It's always going to grind around that balance area over and over again and fake you out and whipsaw you and take your money, because that's what the market likes to do. But you know what the probabilities are. Also, it looks like just above halfback, we have a couple of low volume nodes that need some backfilling. What does that mean? Well, if it came down here, it might just need to backfill those, and then it finds the support for continuation. But if it doesn't, if it just continues to push higher, that is bullish in a when what should happens doesn't. All right, well, we're looking for support right around that halfback. Looking for the buyers. They need to backfill some of these levels in here. And when we get there, we should get those ticks. If the buyers are stepping in, those ticks should push back above the zero line. All right, this is the moment for the buyers to defend. And it looks like I was wrong. Sorry, guys. Breaking back below that balance area low. And new sellers piling on. So now that was support becomes resistance. All right, and Q is officially broken back out below that balance area low. So that is bearish. Next support around 13,810. And as a breakout of the balance area, you're looking at about the 13,500s as a target to the downside. Doesn't have to go there today, but that is the highest probability when you break out of a balance. Excess to the downside. So why aren't you instantly getting super bearish here, Charles? Well, because I know sometimes it likes to mess with us here. It likes to grind around for a while, right at these pivotal levels. So I want to be clear we've broken like we did on the NQ before I get bearish. Screwball support at yesterday's low. Is it support or is it resistance? This is the market's favorite thing to do. Get as many people short as you possibly can, or as long as you possibly can, before making a break one way or the other. At this point, I think it's safe to go with whichever direction the B period breaks the A period. All right, well, the buyers are failing, so I am now switching to bearish. So we got a weak reference we left behind at, well, first we have the base of the single prints up from 317 at 43.74. Could be some support in there. If that breaks, the next target is the weak reference we left behind at 43.64.50. If that is repaired, like in the overnight, we might find support right there. But if both of those break, I think a good target is 43.25 to the downside. What? uh, ooh, the Habs fighting the banner. We'll see if you're right. Back up in the balance area. Xavier, good morning to you. Design Knob, I think housing report just came out. Yeah, Jesus. The Q recovering completely, back in balance. I don't think if I was trading the Q, I don't think I'd go long though, even if the B breaks the A, because I feel like we're just doing that grind around right at the balance area high or low that we always do. Just getting as many people long as we possibly can before taking it lower. So on the ES, if we break the A period high, I'd go long with it, but not on the Q. I think they're messing with us here. Just trying to get as many short-term traders long as they possibly can before they take the market lower. And oh, how those short-term traders love to buy yesterday's low. It's a nice, easy reference to put their orders. Rocket. Well then, NQ paid huge this morning. That's all for today. Enjoy the rest of your day. Design up. You need a what in the holy F is going on banner. I've got one of those. I've got the I just have no clue banner. Like, I don't know. But I do feel like this is bearish. They had their chance to get back up into balance, right? Earlier this morning, A period, they pushed up in here. They built up support. If they were going to head to the opposite end, they should have brought in new buyers up there. So I think right now we're just grinding around to get as many people long as we can before we head lower. I do feel like I have a grasp on what's happening. It's tricky, but I think I know. What are all the signs that are kind of adding to my bearishness here? Well, value is lower than yesterday. That is a little bit bearish to see. The ticks are having a really hard time getting above the zero line. That is a little bit bearish to see. Both the breadth and the advancers versus decliners have now pulled themselves below the zero line and are trending lower. That is a little bit bearish to see. So these are the things that the regular traders, the traders that just look at the candlesticks, they're not seeing all of this. They don't understand. So they think they can just buy yesterday's low and they're going to get a bounce. But we see what's happening under the hood. And we know there's more sellers in this market. Okay, NQ testing that 20 moving average on the 15-minute candles. Looking for resistance there. Scooball says it's a look below and fail for me. So you're saying look below yesterday's range? Could be. They're not going to get me long, though, until they get above the A-period high. Too many times I've seen how they do this. They grind and grind and grind right at that balance area low to give them the momentum to either break higher or lower by squeezing whichever side is wrong. So I think they're still just building up that momentum. Pulling that rubber band tighter and tighter. Pushing that spring down tighter and tighter. So that whichever way they take it, it can burst. Bossman NQ full session VWAP acted as perfect support. Hasn't looked back since. It's also got above that 20. That's a little bit bullish to see. Scooball is saying it's also a look below of the balance area. It's sitting above yesterday's low. No gap and go. Short squeeze in the NQ. Could be, man. Like I said, though, they're not going to get me long till they get above that A-period high. Plenty of money to be made between there and the balance area high. Better to be cautious. Feels to me like this is short-term traders doing the buying in here. The weakest of hands. Design knob, the laggiest of laggards. Well, it's too early for it to be laggards. Uh, okay, so now the question is, can the ticks stay above the zero line? Or do they get smacked back down once again? Rob, question: wouldn't 43.75.5 be the balance low since that was excess low? 75.5. No. So the way you look at a balance area is it's not the absolute low of the higher the low. It's the area where once it passes through it, it causes it to go to the opposite end, right? So we came down in the overnight and then pushed higher to the opposite end, came down again, opposite end, came down again, right? So you got to look for an area where it's like dipping through those levels over and over again. And when it does, it sends it to the opposite end. That's sort of the area that you're looking for. But don't get overly obsessed with this exact level. It's just a conceptual idea that we are in balance. The exactness of where the level is doesn't really matter. You rarely get absolutely perfect balance areas. It's just a reference. All right, tick smackdown once again. I'm going to get back to neutral here, but like I said, I will not get bullish unless we break that A period high. Still feels like a fake out to me. Well, so much for giving you guys an edge. My bad. So now, obviously, as the ticks are able to stay above the zero line, they look very, very different than they did just a minute ago. Now we're seeing that they're building support and they're staying above zero, which is new buyers stepping in. Next resistance is the 20 moving average on the 15-minute candles, which is just above price right now. Poor high, increasing the odds of a repair. All right, all four of the internals above the zero line now. And with that poor high in need of repair, once again, I'm bullish. I said they were going to fake people out this morning. They faked me. Chief, no problem. I stayed bullish the whole way. Trading Donkey, Fade the Banner Bot is killing it. Seriously, today is one of the worst days I've had in a long time. All right, well, we'll see with the C period here which way it breaks the initial balance, and we will look for continuation there. As a matter of fact, if the C period breaks yesterday's low, I'd be short for continuation to the downside. But if we break that B period high, which we should, we have a poor high there in need of repair. And we did get those ticks, well, not anymore, but we did get those ticks above the zero line. So if we're able to work our way back up, repair that poor high, get a couple ticks above there, we should get continuation to the upside. Like I said, it'll be a grindy day like Friday was, or Thursday was to the downside. It won't be a straight line up, but the highest probability would be getting to the opposite end of balance to the upside. And if the C period trades back down below Thursday's low, I would look for continuation to the downside there. They are really messing with us this morning. These internals are like impossible to read. So with that, I shall bid you all farewell. Wish you the best of luck for the rest of the day. I do think there'll be some money to be made here. I don't think we're just going to rotate around inside this area. To me, as I've said, this is a spring that is getting tighter and tighter, and it's getting ready to burst one way or another. So once it kind of starts moving in a particular direction, it should continue that way the rest of the day. And the fact that we're back in balance and we have a poor high in need of repair makes me believe it's going to be up. But it's not a very strong belief, I can tell you that much. If we do start to sell off here and we break our Thursday's low, we'll know it was this tick that was the big signal. Right? You guys remember I said, wait a second, this is changing things. The fact that we were able to get above the zero line and stay above it, that got me bullish. But then like 2 seconds after I said it, it broke back below. So that could be the indication of the bearishness here. But at the moment, it's just too hard to call. All right, I will see you all here tomorrow morning. Have a great rest of your day.